So just a couple of things to reinforce that I think are really important. When we just looked at the horses and talked about moving up through the training scale a little bit and what we're looking for balance-wise. First of all, contact means the horse has to take even weight in both reins. Okay, that's a very important concept that most people don't have. It makes me crazy too, Steffen, when I hear behind my judge's booth some DQ screaming, outside rein, more outside rein, more outside rein, more outside rein, more, half halt on the outside rein, you know, because that ain't it, you know. Each rein has a specific job. The inside rein is in charge of lateral suppleness, and the outside rein is in charge of longitudinal flexion suppleness. It's the final part of the half halt that puts the horse on the bit. But if you're riding around constantly with hanging on to the outside rein and throwing away the inside rein, which I see all the time, which goes against Steffen's thing, you must have a reason to give. If you're in a mechanical, let go of the inside, let go, and I say, why are you doing that? Well, because I hang on the inside rein. Well, then learn to do it right. You know, come on, instructors, let's snap out of it. Don't teach them something else totally wrong. If they're hanging on the inside rein, teach them how to have an equal contact. Don't put something else into their system that is wrong as well. Because then they're going to be hanging on the outside rein, right? And we see this all the time. So, you know, this evenness in the contact, I think, is one of the hardest things to teach, because it's a feeling thing. Feelings. It's very hard to teach those feelings, don't you think? And there are some people who don't really have a lot of feel when they ride. They're a little bit more mechanical. And it's a difficult thing, but the contact, the connection is a very, very important thing. Okay? So you'll hear a lot about that. We'll address the double bridle a little bit more when we get to third level, when it's optional. But again, the double bridle is a tool, and so is the snaffle. And if you have a horse that is difficult to bend, in other words, we're talking about lateral suppleness, putting the double bridle on is not the way to fix that. Okay, so we'll talk about the good things and the evil things about double bridles. The looping curb rein, the rule that Steffen was talking about, as we were told, although it's not really in writing in the rule book yet, but we had a guideline that said if you see a looping curb reins, you have to deduct 1 point from every movement. Now, my comment was, well, if I'm going to do that for someone who's looping the curb rein, what am I going to do with someone who's got the curb rein so tight that the curb is, you know, parallel to the ground? Because in my opinion, that's a bigger sin. You know, and in dressage, we're all sinners, you know, but we all have degrees of sin. I really like this Catholic religion thing. I grew up Presbyterian. My husband's Catholic. And he keeps telling me about all these different levels of sin. Now, growing up as a Presbyterian, if you sin, you went to hell, period, end of story, okay? But not the Catholics. They have a little sin where you do a Hail Mary or two, and then you have a little bigger one, and then finally they get to the sin that's going to send you to hell. So dressage is a little bit like that, you know? We have the looping curb, that's a little sin, and then you've got the big, really holding on to the curb. Now, for me, you're going to hell for that. So, you know, in my ring, that's a bigger sin. So, and I think most of the judges would agree with that. We hate to see that, where the poor horse is being strangled by the rider. Anyway, we'll go back to the double bridle more in third. The other thing, Steffen calls it be colorful in your riding. And he's so sweet, isn't he? I mean, don't be so damn boring, guys. Come on. You bore your horses to death. Everyone in the U.S. rides, first we ride around in the same trot, in the same direction, for what, 3 to 4 minutes? And then you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I read in dressage today, I must go forward. So then you race across the diagonal and you're like, check, went forward. Now, yeah, so now you're on the right rein in the same trot, okay? And then you're like, whew, I'm kind of tired, I think I'll rest. And you do the same thing at canter. Okay, our horses are so bored. And then you have no idea if the horse really will go, really will come back, really will flex left. You know, change things, change directions, change the flexion, change the speed. We have this, what we call pendulum of elasticity. All right, think how a pendulum works. Pendulum starts out hanging straight down, and that's pretty much the gaits God gave the horse. Now, we don't like anything God does particularly, so we're going to change that, right? We don't want to just ride around in these gaits. So we have to say, okay, at the top of the pendulum up here, we have the most collected movements, piaffe and canter pirouettes. And then we, over here, do we have extended trot, extended walk, extended canter. Now, in between that, we have all these other things. I mean, a good Grand Prix horse has what? 9 canters, 8 trots, 3 walks.
It's very adjustable.
Yeah, you have all of these opportunities and tools. Okay, you're in the middle of a half pass and you think you need to go forward, you can. Or you think you need to collect more, you can. So, unfortunately, in the US, we don't ride like this. You should be thinking of your whole ride. Okay, so that you have the elasticity, that you keep testing things. All right, can you go forward? Can you come back? And then the same time, you're thinking about the top line. Can you make it longer? Can you bring it rounder? Can you flex it left? Can you flex it right? So if you ride around being colorful or boring, okay, what's your favorite American word, Steffen?
Was it half-ass?
Exactly. My plate. So let's raise our standards, and let's not use Steffen's favorite American word in our riding, and let's really think about using the symposium to change your thought process, change your training process a little bit. Okay?